everyone, it's Peg, and this morning I was watching Cindy Utter, who was doing her My Year 2017 November video, and she was die cutting or punching out some images to use for stencils, and I thought, well, that's a great idea. I've done that before, and I was thinking about the materials that I had, and I had just done a big de-stash of 12 by 12 papers. You know, they come in these containers. I keep them in these containers, and then they have these plastic things in between. And so I thought, well, I have a lot of those extra pieces of plastic that would work really well for stenciling. So what I did was I cut them down, cut this 12 by 12 piece down into a 6 by 6 piece, and then I took my Biggs dies like this. This is a tree, and I cut it out with my die cut machine to create these stencils. So let me show you what that is. Here's another idea if you have things like this sitting around the house. This is an old file folder that I'm not currently using, but it's a nice plastic. It's a nice weight, and I'm thinking this would make really good stencils, especially with those thinner die. So let me get something out here and I'll show you what that does. Just going to open this up to reveal the materials. And you probably don't want these edges here because they're doubled up, so you can just pull those apart like this. And then what I would do is get a die. Let me just pull something out. Any of these thin type die would work for this, and I think, you know, this tree would be really a cool one, this butterfly, these different floral things. So, you know, and look at these for stenciling. Aren't those cool? So it only cuts the corner out, but that's okay because that's all we need if we're going to do a stencil. So let me cut that. My die cut machine is across the room, and I'm just using a Tim Holtz Vagabond. You could use a Big Shot, you could use a Cuttlebug, any of those die cutting machines that you may already own and have in your stash. I'll be back. So I thought I should show you a little bit of the weeding process. This is the stencil set, or the die cut set, the dies, the set of 2 dies that I'm using from Ellison. And you can see the first one here has cut out this particular tree, and now I have this die cutting this piece of plastic, so you can see it comes right off and you get the outline of the stencil. Now inside of this is the die cut itself, and if I wanted to, I could also pull that piece and use it for a mask. Get a tool here. These handy pokey tools are what you need sometimes to get those things going. So I'm going to pull that up, see if I can do it without tearing it, because this is rather a delicate die. Just working it out gently, little by little, and if it gets stuck someplace, you can go back, do this again, get it with the brush, try and loosen it up a little. That one spot right in there wants to stick. So this is a little bit tedious, but it's worth it, you know, because if you really want that part of the image, then you're going to have to clean it out of the die. So there we go, it's coming now. Work this under here. Okay, and then you just finish cleaning out those couple little pieces that are left in there. And then your die is ready to go back in the container and be ready to use the next time. So, okay, you can see there's a couple little cling-on pieces here. If they don't pull right off, you may have to get some scissors and snip it, or an X-Acto knife or utility knife and cut that out. But you can see I have a nice image here, and what you can do is put some removable adhesive on the back to make sure that that's going to lay down on your piece of paper. You can get different adhesives like this Zig 2-way, and if you put a little bit of that on the back. And something else I think you need to have around are these dryer sheets, because these have some static cling, and they will cling to things. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this on here and let it dry while I talk to you about a few other things, and we'll set that aside. That's just to hold it down on the piece of paper. So now I have these two, and these can be used with a brush or a sponge, however you want to do it. If you want to use paint, then you probably want a sponge. Today I'm just working with some inks. Here's some Hero Arts chalk ink, and if I use a sponge applicator for that, I can just come in from the edge with a sponge applicator. You don't even have to fill in the whole center if you don't want to. Give it a different sort of look. I mean, suppose you want to stamp a sentiment or something across here. You may not want to fill in the whole image, but you can see what you get with a sponge applicator. Okay, and then take this one, and we'll use, I will use a brush, stencil brush. That's just where the crease was in that pocket. So I'm just going to get some ink on my stencil brush, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to gently swipe across. Getting my fingers in the way here. And moving my stencil around. I should, normally I would tape this down, but for the purposes of the video, I'm just going for it. Anyway, you get the idea. I don't have to fill the whole image in solidly, but there you have a stenciled tree from our die cut. And then these are the ones that I had done out of the heavier material, and it's the same thing. If you want to stencil, you just can use the brush apply some that way, or I can pick up a sponge applicator. Go in here, let me put this down here. You see, you can get a nice layered tree effect that way. So those were cut from this medium Sizzix pinecone tree, and then I did a whole bunch more. I cut Eiffel Tower and fleur-de-lis and keys and music notes and leaves, hearts and stars, inspire is a word. Here's inkwell and feather quill and the nibs. Here's some more leaves, hearts, stars, different leaves, and here is a fun one. This is like a snowflake that I cut out this way, but I was thinking it would also be fun if I did this as a reverse. If I just used lightly put this into the background someplace, just to give the hint of snowflakes, right? Oops. Moving it again. Need my big fingers. Yeah, that's kind of fun. See the snowflake? And then add some shimmer or something, that would be fun. And then this is that other set that I did. These are those Sizzix Thinlits, and these are the stencils, and I can either just stick them inside of here, or I have a ring of small stencils started over here that I can clip these into and then have them handy for when I'm working. But you can see how nicely they work. So I thank you for watching. Be sure and stop by and tell Cindy I sent you, because I'll put a link in here for you so that you can find her video. And if you want to get more notifications from me, click the bell down below, and we'll see you next time. Bye.